Agnus Dei, qui bonis, miserere, qui bonis, dona nobis, miserere, qui bonis, dona nobis, Agnus Dei, Agnus Dei, qui bonis, miserere, qui bonis,
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it.
A few moments later.
Hey, welcome everybody to another edition of Sports Church right here on Barracks Part of Me. I'm your host, John Kermy, aka Friar Mitty. I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran. 2311 was my MOS. IOAs. I'm a card carrying member of the E4 Mafia. Allegedly. And I'm going to bring him first up because he's first in. He is the one and only brother Bishop Pook Dog. We served together at the beautiful all-inclusive resort known as Ammo Company 43 area, Las Pulgas. Yes, to the 1st Supply Battalion, 1st 4-Star Support Group, 1st Marine Division. Without further ado, please welcome the true sayer of the show, Brother Bishop Pook.
Let us proclaim the controversies within the UFC. Cejudo and Song Yudong fight. Yes, Minnie.
What's up, brother? I guess we had an eventful night last night, huh?
Well, I first want to thank the good Lord and say this is the Bishop Brother Pook Dog from the First Sports Church. Nothing but the truth, Minnie. That's the first off. So let's get first things first. Yes, last night was a very interesting night. From what I'm reading, I didn't have time. I mean, you make time for things. I definitely made time to watch the main event and some other fights on the card. But from what everyone's saying on the internet, that was a hell of a prelims as well to the main card last night. I don't know if I'll ever get a chance to check it out. I'll be honest with you. We got a long ways to go and a short time to get there because the faster we get out today, the faster I can get some rest because I've been up all day, all night, all day, all night. So I want to get a little nap in before I go into work this evening. But I do, however, probably have a good 10 to 15 minutes of MMA talk. And even though I don't know my ass from a hole in the ground when it comes to college basketball, Minnie, I have started paying attention. I started paying attention because we are deep into conference play in college hoops, and we will soon be in the conference tournaments. And right after that, you know what happens? We got selection Sunday, right? Is it Sunday? Selection Sunday. And then boom, we're right into the freaking tournament. We'll be filling out our brackets. So I wouldn't mind going over, at least looking at, we'll trip through it together, look at maybe the top 20 teams, maybe look up who the bubble teams are and stuff. I have been paying attention a little bit, like I said. So when we have time, maybe after auto racing, after baseball, before, in between, somewhere in there, we'll get into that. But anyway, I'm going to hand the show back over to you so you can do what you do.
Well, I'm waiting on Pops.
That's what I figured. I figured you were going to. Good evening, Pook. Good evening, Senor Benoit. How are you tonight?
Yes.
Absolutely. That's what I figured, Minnie. I figured that you were going to introduce Pops. So I figured I had to get out of your way for that.
He's not there yet. So
well, that's fine. We got plenty of stuff to talk about, man.
All right, well, let's go.
Okay,
I'll check on him real quick.
So per Pop's request, right? I numbered the things you want to pull up. So, well, Minnie's leaving now, and I want him to be pulling up some slides for me. That's not a good thing. That's not a good thing at all, because I had the slides numbered. You know, we were going to go through these. I was going to first talk about Ricky Simone's knockout. And that's real quick. And I really wanted the visual aids. I wanted the visual aids for Minnie to be able to pull up and for him to show us. Him leaving like this and me not having a monologue prepared is kind of screwball, because a lot of times when he gets up like this from the chair, what I'll do is I'll volley off of Pops. I'll start talking about Pops, about auto racing or what happened in the UFC or just life in general. And I don't have that right now. And Minnie left, and I have everything I got. I want to talk about that Ricky Simone fight. I wanted to have the slide. But to draw it out more, Ricky Simone, as everyone probably, Minnie, I'm so happy you're back, because as I was telling the audience while you were away, I have these all numbered. And talking about the Ricky Simone fight does not do it justice without showing the knockout. And I don't want to move on to the next thing until we go to that. This is one of the fights that I witnessed last night. Ricky Simone, you know, three fight losing streak. Pretty much, you know, a journeyman. Pretty much, that is not number one. If you look, there's numbers on all of these, sir.
No, there's not, actually.
Serious.
There's
numbers either above or below them. And whatever number it says is in order. There's an order to this. And Pops told me that I was screwing up, and you wouldn't screw this up if I numbered these things, Minnie.
Oh, man. This is the one that probably didn't get. Oh, that's why. Copy. Hold on, I got it.
Yeah, you should have received 4 of them.
This one. All right, I got it.
All right, what you would? Okay, so Ricky Simone got a fight night bonus that might have resurrected his career in the UFC. He might have been out of the UFC before this fight. Look at this.
That is highlight reel stuff.
Beautiful highlight reel stuff. I did not want to move on to the next talking point before showing that. Thank you for coming back when you did, my friend. I appreciate it. So that brings us to well, before you pull up the slides, let's take a look at this fight card, because I got the fight card pulled up, And worth mentioning real quick, Rob Font got a win over Jean Matsumoto. And according to the internet, according to the way people feel now, see, this is an easy one for Pook to judge because, Pook goes off of, even though the rules are the rules and the facts are the facts, my man, and the UFC has their judging criteria, and sometimes I don't agree with that judging criteria. I don't think they got this one wrong. It was a split decision. A lot of people on the internet think they got this one wrong, and the big reason they think they got this one wrong is because of all the takedowns that Matsumoto had. Now, according to MMA Guru and others online, if Matsumoto was named Matsumoto-off and he had all those takedowns, he would have won the fight. They're saying that there's a bias towards Dagestani wrestlers. If a Dagestani wrestler did this much takedown, had this many takedowns, they definitely would have gave the fight to the Dagestani wrestler. But since Rob Font has a name and everything else, did the damage, they gave it to Rob Font. Not everyone's judged the same in the UFC, according to these people online. I feel the better fighter. I mean, I feel the guy who won the fight, close fight anyway, right? Close fight anyway. The guy that did the more damage, he wins the fight. Okay, I'm all about it. Anthony Hernandez, Brendan Allen fight. A little bit of controversy here. Brendan Allen really believes that he won this fight. I don't think so. It was an unanimous decision. He needed to come out there in that third round and dominate. He did not, and he lost the fight because of it. So I covered the fights prior to the main event. The main event's going to be our talking point tonight because we had all kinds of controversy in this one. Jason Herzog was the referee. And go ahead and pull up that next slide. It'll be number two, and it'll illustrate exactly what I'm talking about. So Henry Cejudo at the end of the third round gets poked in the eye like a freaking Three Stooges poke, man. He gets a freaking double. Like, pull up the picture for us so I can show the audience, show Pops, so you can see what I'm talking about.
All right, give me a minute here.
Number 2. Perfect. We're on the same page, Minnie. Yeah, so it was a bad one. So this was a bad one. So at the end of the third round, right, Cejudo gets poked in the eye here. There's 1:15 left to go. Herzog calls a timeout, calls over the physician. The physician takes a look at him. He hems and haws. He asks him if he's ready to come back in like minute 1. Minute 2, minute 3, minute 4. The guy takes his full 5 minutes. So Henry Cejudo takes his full 5 minutes. After taking his full 5 minutes, right, because you're allowed 5 minutes. I've never seen anyone take the full 5 minutes, by the way. I've watched a lot of these. I'm not saying it's never happened before. I'm just saying I've never seen it. So he takes the full 5 minutes. So he takes a full 5-minute recovery time. 1:15 left to go in that third round. Gets back in there and gets socked up. Worse than ever. Worse than he was. This third round, I don't know, man. We'll get into the scorecard because that's the very next slide we're going to pull up. We'll get into the scorecard. Go ahead and pull that up, by the way, Minnie, the scorecard, so we can take a look at it. So there's a lot of things that could have happened here at this point, right? So he gets back in there. He says he's ready to fight. So he gets back in there. He starts fighting. He gets socked up a bit. Now he's sitting on the stool. He tells his cornerman, he says, I can't see. He's like, I can't fucking see. He's like, I can't fucking see. He kept saying it. And like, if you want to stop a fight, right? If you want to freaking stop a fight, right? That's one thing that'll definitely stop a fight. And we've seen a lot of these guys fight with their eyes freaking swollen shut. You know they can't see, but they're still telling the doc they can see. And Michael Bisping fought with one eye forever. You got that pirate guy fighting with one eye. And he was really complaining about the blurred vision in his left eye. He says his left eye. Now, he was, in his defense, okay, Henry Cejudo's a freaking 3-time. I'm not questioning Henry Cejudo's toughness. A lot of people online are. I'm thinking that maybe he couldn't see. and maybe he's a pro and he knows he doesn't want to go out there for the 4th and 5th round and get fucking CTE for no reason, and you got to get me out of here. Maybe that's what was going on with the I can't see, right? Or maybe there was some gamesmanship. Maybe he was trying to get a no contest out of this because he knew he was headed for an L, and he can't take another L because he was okay. He was Olympic freestyle wrestling champion, got a gold medal, and he was a 2-time 2-division champ, holding simultaneously 2 belts in the UFC. Only 4 other guys in the whole history of the UFC have ever done that, Conor being one of them. So, I mean, he's a big deal, and he's been away from the sport for a while. I want to say 3 years. The Pook could be wrong. That's off the cuff. That's off the top of his head. It might be longer than 3 years, but he's been away for about 3 years. He came back, and he's lost with Song Yudong fight. With the Song Yudong fight here that we're talking about, there's a 3rd fight in a row he lost. So maybe he was sitting there and he's like, I need to get out of here. I need to get out of here in no contest. Maybe that's what he was thinking. Maybe that's what he's thinking. Who knows what he's thinking? Maybe he really couldn't see, and he knew that if he goes out there, he's gonna get smashed. And why go out there and just to get smashed? You're already behind on the scorecard. Now, the other argument that you hear online too is what was going on in his head is he actually, and it was a close fight. Man, it was a real close fight. You see, if you can see the scorecard, right? If you see the scorecard, I'm gonna pull that up myself so I can see it. I really can't read very well because my eyes ain't what they used to be. But if you look at it, it's all 10-9, 10-9. Judges are given different rounds. They got different opinions on rounds. Judges are given different rounds to Henry Cejudo. And I think you could even make an argument that he might have won the first round. Henry Cejudo might have won the first round because he was the more active fighter. He was pressing forward, even though Song Yudong landed more punches at a higher accuracy rate. Being that Song Yudong landed more punches at a high accuracy rate, the first time I watched this fight and the second time I watched this fight, because I watched this fight twice. I watched it once. I watched it once in the break room, and then I listened to some commentary online about the fight, and I rewatched it again to make sure that I had what I had in my mind actually even happened. So Henry Cejudo, right, being an Olympic wrestler that he is, wasn't able to take Song Yudong down one time.
Wow.
Okay, so, Henry Cejudo is 38. He's 38 years old, and his punches and his ability to his ability to defend and elude punches don't seem nearly as fast, crisp. He doesn't seem nearly as spry as he once was. That's part of his problem, I believe. But nevertheless, so he's sitting on the stool, and finally, after protesting over and over to his corner, hey, I can't see, the doc comes over and pretty much a lot of what you can't hear, a lot of stuff you can't hear, but the doc tells Herzog, hey, he's not continuing, he's not going to fight, right? So I don't exactly know what was said between Henry Cejudo and the doc exactly, but it was pretty much, it was pointing at his eyes, pointing at the doc. He's talking about how he can't see. So of course, if you say you can't see, they ain't going to continue the fight. They can't. So Herzog does something that I've never saw before. And this is where some of the controversy comes in. I don't believe, after reading the rules, see, a lot of this, when it comes to whether you're going to deduct a point, right? That's all on the referee. Whether a point gets deducted or not for the eye poke, right? And it was you saw the eye poke was vicious,
Yeah.
Probably one of the most vicious eye pokes since Chuck Liddell poked some people in the eye, man. Probably some of the worst ones, man. Probably one of the worst since the Tito Ortiz Chuck Liddell eye poke, right? But Chuck was known for poking people in the eye. But here's the thing, right? And Dana even said in the press conference, it's a judgment call on the official. A point deduction on a foul. Unless someone keeps committing the same foul over and over and over again, you don't deduct a point unless it was malicious, unless the guy meant to do it. Now, there's a lot of argument online that that's the only sport it's like that in. If you freaking take somebody's head off in a college basketball game, that's a flagrant one. You know what I mean? It don't matter if you meant to do it or not. You know what I'm saying? But here we got a different sport. It's a different animal too. But if someone was to use gamemanship, right, and just cheat within the rules and try to make things look as not very sportsmanlike, right? But if you there's not a lot of dirty fighters, a lot of gentlemen in the sport. There's not a lot of dirty fighters. So the last dirty fighter that I remember, the last real dirty fighter I remember was Gilbert Ivel. Now that guy was freaking dirty. He was a dirty, dirty guy. He's a filthy, filthy, dirty guy. But I mean, there's stuff you can do all day. Like you can and just get warnings and never get a point deduction. You can grab the cage and leverage yourself against the cage. You can do that over and over again till they'll finally deduct a point, right? I mean, so if you're a UFC fighter, right, and you're using gamesmanship, if a UFC fighter had a baseball player's mentality, which is, you know, cheat like hell, and cheat like hell, and if you get caught, that's the sin, not actually cheating, right? It'd be a different sport. It'd be ugly. They probably have to do more about the fouls. But this was definitely a foul. He freaking caught him in the eye with the freaking – I'm surprised, you know, we didn't see the double noggin knocker, you know, after that freaking – right? Right in the eyes, right? So Herzog decides to stand him back up to start the fourth round just to cancel the fight and go to the scorecards. Now, the way I'm reading the rules, he don't have to do that. We've already passed the halfway point of a fight. After a halfway point of the but Herzog might not have known the rules, or he might have misunderstood them, right? But he didn't need to come out of his corner. Half the fight's already been fought. So Herzog could have called the fight, and at that point in time, Herzog could have called it a no contest. It would have been his judgment call, or he could have went to the scorecard. He decided to stand them up, start round 4, call time, end the fight, go to the scorecards. Now, we had just had that scorecard pulled up. Now, if you were to deduct a point, which he did not do, and a lot of people say that he should have, a lot of people say that he should have. I'm not one of them, by the way. I'm not one of them.
Gotcha.
Because you got to be, you got to keep, even though that was such a vicious eye poke, who cares? I don't think it was intentional. You know, Dana White said at the press conference, yeah, why would you deduct a point? It wasn't intentional. It sure didn't look intentional. But who knows? Who knows what? Only God knows what was in Song Yudong's heart when he freaking did the freaking double eye poke. Right. Right. So we don't know that. So, but if you were, right, we're looking at Henry Cejudo here. A lot of people are saying Henry Cejudo got screwed because it should have been a no contest. And if it wasn't a no contest, there should have been a point deduction for the eye poke, which would have gave him a majority draw. It would have given him a majority draw decision, which looks a lot better on your record than 3 losing fights in a row. Now, Song Yudong says that he doesn't want to win this way and he wants to run it back. Dana White says he has no interest in running this back, but he says if everybody wants him to, he will. So this is yet to be determined what they're actually going to do with this. I think, my opinion, I don't want Henry Cejudo to come kick my ass because he lives in Phoenix, man. So I hope I didn't say nothing too disparaging about the man because I would never question his toughness because he would freaking ragdoll me and he's literally half my size. So that being said, what do you guys think about this controversy? What do you think about like fouls in the UFC versus maybe fouls in pro football where like we've seen a lot of hits that people get flagged on, especially against quarterbacks that you know aren't intentional. These things aren't intentional, but it could cost you the game. A 15-yard penalty can cost you the game in the NFL. You screw up, you get penalized. This is the only sport where if you screw up, you really don't get penalized. You just get a warning. Oh, don't do that. Oh, don't do that. Over and over again. Oh, don't do that. And here's the other thing, man. A lot of these fights are so close. A point deduction, boom. It might cost you the fight. In a fight that you should have won, right? And where are they going to take the point away? For you holding on to the cage or something, grabbing hold of the cage by accident because you're fighting for your life? You know, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's a tough one for me. I say this is one of the things that this doesn't come up. Controversy and judging controversy, there's nothing new to that. There's nothing new. There's nothing new. Not in the UFC. Definitely not. But this scenario, I can't remember ever quite happening like this. Except for maybe when John Jones got the DQ for the 12-6 elbow on Matt Hamill. Outside of that, I can't remember anything quite like this. He could have disqualified Song Yadong as well. He could have gave him a DQ. Now, I don't agree with that either. I don't think the eye poke was intentional. And then the other argument to that is, okay, well, why should this cost Henry Cejudo the fight? The damn eye poke, if he ain't breaking the rules and poking him in the eye, Cejudo's going to lose for sure. He goes back out there in the 4th and 5th round not being able to see, if he really can't see. You know, he's in his corner. I believe him. He's in his corner saying he can't see. Everything's blurry. I mean, that never stopped Cowboy Cerrone.
Yeah.
But, you know, Cowboy Cerrone has a lot of L's on his record, doesn't he?
Yep.
I don't know. What do you guys think about it?
I really think that once the doctor enters the ring, the decision's got to be made at that time, not 10 minutes later.
Man, it was they had the doctor in the ring twice.
Yeah.
Twice. More than that, 3 times. 3 times because they had him leave the ring to start round 4, which was just ridiculous. Right. I had no reason to start round 4. There really was no reason to start round 4. Whatever decision you had to make, go to the judges' scorecards, no contest, disqualification, could have been done in between rounds. There's no reason to start round 4. So they had the doctor come back in and stop the fight in the 4th round. So they had the doctor talk to him in the 3rd round, talk to him in between rounds, and then after Herzog called time for the freaking ceremonial start of the 4th round, which was never, the 4th round was never actually going to happen. That's when the doctor finally came in and waved off the fight, or Herzog waved off the fight after the doc came back in.
See, the problem you get into is that the fighter said, "No, I can go. I can do this." And now all of a sudden he can't. He says he can't do it. You know, which one is it? The fighter causes his own problem. By saying he can do it.
Yeah, but at the same token, the sport, if you don't have that kind of attitude where you're going to either come home carrying your shield or lying on it, right? Mm-hmm. You're pretty much dead in the water. You got to be able to push through pain, discomfort, crippling injuries that would freaking break a regular mortal man. So these guys, you know, if one of these guys freaking threw a jab and punched me, as tough of a guy as I think I am, a legend in my own mind, if one of these freaking real fighters, punched me with a jab right square in the freaking face, man, that'd probably be enough to make me quit right there, man. Yeah. You know, being honest, right? You got to have a certain mentality to do this, and the mentality of, oh, I really can't see out of my eye right now, coach. You know, I mean, that don't normally, like I said, I'm not questioning Henry Cejudo because who knows what was going through Henry Cejudo's head. You know, Henry Cejudo's a crafty veteran. You know, what was going through his head honestly could be, I can't see anything. He's blurry. I can't track any of his punches. I'm fighting blind. I'm going to get murdered if I go out there for the 4th and 5th round. That might be what he's actually thinking, and that really sounds logical, right? But I mean, from day one, you're pushed to go past your breaking points. These guys fight with injuries all the time. That's why you really can't use injuries as an excuse. I mean, people fight with torn ACLs. Conor did it. Conor fought with a torn ACL against Menendez. Freaking another guy, Shogun Rua, fought for many fights with a torn ACL. I mean, how can you, if you legit got a torn ACL that needs surgery, you're not the guy you are if you're healthy, for sure. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if you really can't, you're not even allowed to use freaking injuries as an excuse in this sport. So it's real hard to tell these guys, let's safety first. You know what I'm saying, Pops? Yeah, it's.
I just, between the corner and the fighter, they have to take control of the fight, and they obviously did not do that now.
The corner did not seem to want to stop the fight. Henry Cejudo had a protest.
Yeah.
because they were icing that eye. They're like, which eye? The left eye. They're putting freaking ice on his left eye. They're trying to hype him up, trying to get him going. And he's like, you guys don't understand. I can't see. I can't fucking see. So that's what stopped the fight. Henry Cejudo stopped the fight. He stopped the fight on his own. His corner didn't seem down with until he protested like 3 times. Didn't seem down with stopping the fight at all.
Yeah.
And you're right. Maybe the corner should have more concern for their fighter safety for sure. I mean, some of these fighters, man, they ain't doing so good. Shane Carwin for one. And if you've seen Chuck Liddell, nothing against Chuck Liddell, Chuck's great, but I mean, the CTE stuff's real.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all these guys are probably going to suffer it. Like anybody that did this crap, probably all of them's going to go through some. It's a tough sport, man. It makes me wonder.
There's no doubt about it. It's a tough sport. The problem is that the fighters and the corner got to recognize that. And if he says, I can't see, he's done. His corner's
I agree with you, Pop.
That
I agree with you, Pop. And that's one thing you can't tell the referee that, because the referee will stop the fight. And you're supposed to stop the fight every time.
All right.
So anytime something like that happens. So go ahead. We'll start talking about what's going on a little bit outside the UFC and what's coming up in the UFC. I think we pretty much wrapped up this part of the segment, unless you got something to chime in about the Henry Cejudo Song Yadong fight, Minnie.
No, I'm good, brother.
All right, so go ahead and pull up the next clip. It's actually a clip. I believe it's a McGregor clip. I think it's number 4. Is it number 4?
A Connor clip? We got another Connor
clip.
clip?
Yeah, we got a Connor clip.
Oh my God. All right.
Number 4.
Shit. What the fuck?
Hey, you just hear my music come onto the stage here in Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, and now I come with my fist wrapped with no gloves and I fight out of nowhere, no promo, no nothing, just fighting a random fight in a card. That could be where my future holds, and you know, legal, just making claims and all this bollocks. That's what. One of these days, you just hear my music come onto the stage here in Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, and now I come with my fist wrapped with no gloves and I fight out of nowhere, no promo, no nothing, just fighting a random fight in a card. That could be where my future holds.
So you heard the man, kind of, right? I mean, you're able to read the subtitles. I don't know if
Yeah.
Because in between being coked up and drunk, he's got that thick Irish accent as well. So sometimes hard to accept. He's saying he's going to fight in the BKFC. Now, the rumblings on the internet. Now he still owes. Yeah, he still owes Dana. This is off the top of my head. It might only be one fight. I think he owes him 2 fights, but there is a sunset clause on his contract. So at some point, no matter what, I think it's going to happen. I don't think he's going to fight. This is my opinion. I don't think he's going to fight in the octagon. I think he will fight in BKFC for sure at some point. And at some point, this is the other prediction that I have, whether they make it public or not, UFC is going to get paid. Dana White's going to get paid, and the UFC is going to get paid when he does. Because of the legal implications, because of the contractual problems.
I'm up here giving these speeches and leading these men into battle. And I won't step in there myself, think again. For sure, Conor McGregor will fight in Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Mark my words. I'd like a world title in this company. I would wish to be the Bare Knuckle world title, world champion. That is a significant belt to hold in your career. You know, nobody from boxing to mixed martial arts can speak nothing bad on a Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship world champion. So for sure, I would be coming in looking for the world title. You know, there are many bouts, showcase bouts. You could say Mike Perry. You could say Jeremy Stevens. You could say a rematch against Eddie Alvarez. You could say many matches, you know, but the lightweight title, who's the champion right now? Lightweight, welterweight. Let's see. I am open.
So now he's
So,
gonna
so did
now he's gonna change disciplines. He's gonna go bare knuckle fighting.
that's
Yeah.
what he's saying. That's what he's saying, and
bet.
and that's what he's been saying. And did every time you know what? I'm not very happy with Minnie today, pops. Excuse me, and I'm going to tell you why. Because every time I want something from him, right?
Yeah.
He gets up and leaves. He gets up and leaves. Every time I need something, I needed him. Like I literally could have done the whole Ricky Simone's part of the segment without Minnie, but
Yeah.
I really needed him to pull up that short because it's real quick, man. The guy's been fighting forever, and he's on a three fight losing streak.
Yeah.
He's probably on the bubble, right? He might, he's a journeyman. He's been fighting for a long time. Dana White wants fresh, new bodies that can contend,
Yeah.
right? So he's probably on the bubble. He might have saved his fight career with this knockout that he had. And before I moved on to talking about something else, I wanted Minnie to pull that up, and that's when he got up and walked the first time. And now I wanted to ask him where he got that clip from, because I got a suspicion that he probably got it from Chris Benoit, because that's the clip that I was looking for when I found the clip that I showed you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was literally looking for that same clip. Chris Benoit had it. So I believe it's Benoit. So I'll give him credit. When Minnie gets back, we'll have to ask him. But yeah, Connor's going to be fighting in BKFC. He's like, mark my words. That was the quote. Mark my words. That's what I was actually looking for. Did you get that clip from Chris Benoit?
Yeah.
I knew it. Good job, Chris Benoit. I was telling your father, that's actually the clip that I wanted to pull up, but I didn't find. And he had it for us. He had it for us locked and loaded. So yeah, that's the clip. Mark my words. Mark my words.
Oh, so anyway, now
The Pook gets married. I didn't read all that. I got to squint to read. What did that say, Minnie? If the Pook gets married,
get up and leave.
get up and leave.
Anyway,
What does that quite mean? 'Cause
I don't know.
you were at oh, he's talking about what? Yeah, I get the joke, because every time I need your ass, you get up and leave, motherfucker. That's a good joke, actually. Thank you for backing me up. Yeah, I get the joke now. I didn't get the joke at first. Yeah, I needed you to pull up the Ricky Simone knockout, because I didn't want to move on past Ricky Simone without showing that freaking knockout. And you got up and left right then and there. And then I wanted to ask you if the Combat Santa was the one who freaking fired that to you, because I wanted to give him the credit where credit was due. And you got up and left. So it's okay. It's okay. I guess Paddy Pimblett, right? Paddy Pimblett, I don't have a slide of him, and Minnie's probably happy I don't have a slide of him, but we all know who Paddy Pimblett is. Paddy Pimblett is supposed to be fighting Chandler. So
Nice.
a lot of MMAers, I haven't looked at the Vegas odds, but a lot of hardcore MMAers, like fans and fighters alike, think that Paddy's going to get dismantled. Now, I don't know, man. Paddy, I don't know if he's going to, man. Paddy's the way this is played out over time. The way I've seen this play out over time, and the Pook's not always right, especially when he's betting. But the way I've seen this play out of time, the young rooster has the advantage. The young rooster has the advantage. It's a young man's game. I've seen over the years, all my roosters get killed. All of them. So that brings us to Patricio Pitbull. He is now in the UFC. He actually has a fight inked. I don't have any notes today. I forgot who his opponent was, and a lot of guys didn't want to fight him. I know that. A lot of guys didn't even want to fight him. They didn't want to fight him, but he's got an opponent, and he's in the UFC now. Now, you might remember me talking the few times I've talked about Bellator fighting championships. I was probably talking about Pitbull. You might have remembered even pulling up slides of Pitbull in the past. So he's a little long in the tooth as well. He's coming to the UFC in the twilight of his career. I don't know if he's going to be able to get the gold. Maybe he can. Well, they'll be yet to determine. One thing's for sure, he could come in there 10 years from now and probably clear out half of the damn UFC. You know, I mean, he's that level of talent. I mean, obviously, you're not going to beat the young champion, but I'm saying like 10 years from now, he could probably freaking clean up a bunch of journeymen. You know what I'm saying? He's that good. You know, so we'll see what he can do in the UFC. I predict a lot of wins. I think he's going to do very well. I don't know if he's going to be able to get the belt. You know, like I said, he's on the twilight of his career. So reporting also Dana White. Dana White's rebutting the internet, and he's saying that no doubt John Jones will fight Tom Aspinall. All that fight's going to happen. Now, we don't have an agreement yet, and it's been a long time. We've been talking about that for a long time. So, not sure. Now, if you want me to wrap this up and you want to move on to something else, because I said I'd take 10 minutes, I ended up taking 40. I could look at I told you the things off the top of my head going on in the UFC. If you want, I could pull up the calendar and we can look at the calendar.
Let's look at the calendar real quick.
All right, let's take a look at the calendar then. All right. So next week we're going to have another fight night. Okay. And yeah, I'm leaving out something a little important, aren't I? For you MMA honks out there. Definitely, when I said I was moving on without checking out the calendar, without mentioning this fight, Chris Benoit might have threw his hat against the wall, because we're gonna have a Pereira fight, and that's coming up really soon. Pereira's gonna be fighting Ankliff. Getting a little feedback in my ear set. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Are you getting that feedback?
Yeah, all of a sudden, I don't know what it is. Hold on. Let me look. All right. We should be good now.
We're good? Yeah, we're definitely good now. Okay, so that's gonna happen March 8th. So that's coming up real quick here. We're gonna have Pereira versus Ankliff. And on that same card is gonna be Justin Gaethje and Dan Hooker. They're gonna be fighting one another. That's gonna be a good fight, man.
Nice.
I might actually just bet the underdog in that fight, which is gonna be Dan Hooker. Probably gotta go with Justin Gaethje. He's probably gonna be a heavy favorite, honestly. But it's gonna be a good fight, and you can't count Dan Hooker out.
Nope.
You can't count Dan Hooker out. We're gonna see Bobby Green. Bobby Green's gonna be fighting on that card as well. So some of the names I recognize on this fight card, but just the fact that we're going to have a Pereira fight, we got to tune in for that. That's must-see TV.
Absolutely.
Right on. You agree with me?
Yeah, for sure.
You guys tune in for that one? Will you guys tune in for that one so you can comment along with me the next day with the Pereira fight? That's going to come up.
You got to give me a heads up. But yeah,
well,
I'm sure there. I might just not do the bar just so I can watch the fights.
Well, yeah, it's going to be, Pereira fights are right up your alley. Right up your alley. Leg kicks to the head, knockout punches, freaking nonstop action, hardly ever goes to the ground, Ankle.
What's happening?
Moot. The Pook has been mooted.
Oh no, Booker. You know what I discovered? I didn't realize it. Do you realize we have access to a UFC channel?
No.
I just discovered it, I guess it was yesterday, where they're showing either highlights or full fights.
Oh, nice.
The problem is that I got no way to look up who's doing what to who. And because of the pronunciation problems, I don't know that we could ever do anything with it.
Right.
But it's interesting to see what they think is worthy of a replay.
Absolutely. Well, since we lost Boot, might as well jump into the auto sports segment.
All right. Well, things get crazier than ever. Do you remember that? Well, you probably don't remember this, but when Richard Petty won the big race when President Reagan was there,
Yeah.
he won the race, and it was later discovered that his engine was oversized. All right. But he kept the win. They penalized him monetarily and point wise, but he kept the win. And it's always been that case. If the winner is teched and there's a problem with the tech, they penalize him monetarily, but the win stays with the driver.
All right.
Last time this happened was last week. To be honest with you. After the truck race at Daytona, which was again, it was a slam fest, or probably 15 out of the 38 trucks ended up off the track because they couldn't run anymore because it was so crashed out. It turns up that let me get here. That after the race, the trucks discovered that Berger Klingerman's truck was too low in the back, and they disqualified him. So even though he won the race, it was announced that he won the race, which normally is, okay, you won the race, but you're going to get penalized, and basically they take your prize money away and take away some points. That didn't happen. They simply disqualified him.
Yeah.
So now the fans leave the racetrack thinking they know that Parker Klingerman has won the race. And now it's 2 days later, and look, he didn't win the race. Somebody else did. So it's NASCAR trying to get their act together. And the more they try to get their act together, the worse they do. So it will be interesting to see how you would think with the lawsuit going on between 2311 and Front Row Motorsports that they would be able to find a way to be consistent. And yet, the more they try, the worse it gets out. So I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what everybody else comes up with. This week, this will crack you up. The winningest driver in NASCAR, current driver in NASCAR, decided to go to Atlanta and race. And he's only allowed to race 5 times in the Truck Series because he's a Cup star. But anyway, Kyle Busch ends up winning the Craftsman Series race. Probably he won it in the last, 30 yards.
Yeah.
Beating Stuart Friesen like by milliseconds. But he was able to do it. The race was kind of weird in that the prominent teams, which is Ben Rhodes, Ty Majeski, and Enfinger, and all those guys, they ended up down in the well, they were in the top 10, but just barely. So maybe there's a changing of the guard. Majeski is done halfway decent, so he's still there in the point wise. So that's not a big difference. But it'll be interesting to see how Ben Rhodes and Ty Majeski do in the future. Right now, it looks like Joey Logano is leading the race in Atlanta with Austin Cindric in second, Alex Bowman and Hocevar. So there's your top four. They're racing now. They got I'm trying to check. 23 to go probably for the second stage. So that race will not be over while we're on the air. But it'll be interesting to see what goes on. Switching gears, we're going to IndyCar, which actually races next week at St. Petersburg. And if you'll remember, St. Petersburg had the unique situation in that they're the opposite of NASCAR in that you don't win the race until we say you won the race. And so you may not know the results of your race for weeks. And that's what happened last year at St. Petersburg because, let's see. Anyway, it turned up that they had been doing some testing with the battery pack, and so they had made some adjustments to the operating systems so that they would work better with the battery pack. And it turns out that somehow, some way, the guys at Penske didn't get the reset right, and they ended up almost 2 weeks later disqualifying two of the cars from Penske because they were able to use the push to pass on the restarts and starts, and that resulted in disqualifications for Newgarden and anyway, it was the disqualification of Newgarden and Scott McLaughlin because looking at the records, they discovered that they had used the software which was not supposed to be available, and so their performances were totally disqualified. Like I said, and that's 2 weeks later. So you don't win a race until IndyCar decides they've looked at all the factors and do that. The problem with what all went on is that besides the disqualifications, Penske, who is the owner of Penske Motorsports and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and IndyCar, found himself in a real predicament because you can't allow your team to have favoritism, and so they had to do something, and they ended up suspending the car chief mechanic, and Tim Cindric, who is the de facto leader of Penske.
Let's go.
He's president of Penske Motorsports, and they suspended him and the two crew chiefs for 3 races, which included the Indianapolis 500. So that was pretty awesome to see that done, and I don't think it's ever been done before. The long and short of it is that Will Power, who is also a Penske driver, but looking at the traces from the race, he did not use the push to pass illegally, and therefore, even though he knew it was available, he didn't use it, and so they went ahead and basically took 100 points away from him. And some, I think $100,000 from him, and he lost the series championship by 22 points. So that 100 points being taken away, even though he didn't use it, was unbelievably significant. We're coming up to that next week, and it will be interesting to see what the heck they do next week. The last practice for IndyCar was Tuesday, I guess. And your buddy, the Irishman from Mexico, was able to set the fast times, followed by Marcus Armstrong, Alex Palou. Here's a big surprise for you. Number 4 on the list of times came down to Connor Daly, of all people.
Nice.
And that's a Juncos Hollinger racing car, which is not known for speed, but it may be a deal where Connor is actually going to make a push this year. He's basically unsponsored right now, so it's really up to them to get their act together and get some money so they can do what they need to keep him at speed. But we'll just have to wait and see how that comes out. I'll give you an update at the end of the show as far as what's going on the NASCAR Cup Series. But for now, that's where we're at.
Gotcha.
Did we get cut back? I mean, did we get cut back? Did we get cut? Yeah, there he is.
I'm here, Pops.
All right.
I'm here. I was rooting you on. I'm getting excited for IndyCar, huh? Wow. All right.
Yeah, it's time
Right
for
on.
IndyCar.
Right on, man.
All right, not a hell of a lot going on in baseball. Although finally, the biggest free agent still left on the board, Alex Bregman, did get signed. He is now a Boston Red Sox. If you look at his numbers there, the only person who has a higher OPS at Fenway is the one and only Ted Williams. So Bregman looks to have a good time there. Unfortunately, there's a little drama in camp because Alex Bregman's a third baseman, can play second. The current third baseman, Rafael Devers from the Boston Red Sox, says he's playing third. Asked about whether he's in DH, he says, I play third. So that could be fun. Bregman got a 4-year deal. Average annual value of the contract is about $40 million per year. And it's got every year it's got an opt out. So if he banks this year, which I think he'll have a good year, but I don't see any reason why to leave the Red Sox for more than $40 million a year. I don't think anybody else is going to give him more than $40 million. He was pursued also by the Detroit Tigers, and the worst offer was given to him by the Cubs, which was almost the same amount of money, but fewer years. So I don't know. And pitchers and catchers have reported first spring training games happened on Friday, and that's kind of about it. We're kind of just waiting for everything to seal out. Everybody's been signed. Everybody's set. I'm just looking at Fangraphs real quick here. Projected wins for teams. Let's see. Let's go to the AL East. Who's going to win the AL East? It won't do it quite that nicely for me. The best team in the league is going to be the Dodgers. They're projected out by Fangraphs to win 98 games, lose 64. The Braves, 89-73. Phillies in the NL East, 95-67. That could, make some fun in the NL East between the Braves and the Phillies. Yankees 94-68, despite not getting Juan Soto. Getting Juan Soto apparently only gets you to 89 wins and 73 losses. Diamondbacks acquiring Corbin Burns 89-73. The Red Sox only picked to go even after getting the Breggers 81-81. Cubs looking down on there at 83-79. And as far as I can tell, that's enough to win the NL Central Division and probably lose in the first round. I've read a lot of articles being very, very critical of the Ricketts family, who is the ownership group of the Cubs, not making big moves. We did get Kyle Tucker, who's one of the best offensive players in the game, but so far no talks even of an extension, which would probably be pretty costly. Other than that, Chris did stick one thing in here. The Yankees are allowing their players to have beards. So the George Steinbrenner era of no facial hair except for a mustache and a very maintained mustache is gone. The Yankees can now wear beards, and that's kind of maybe sort of a direct result of Devin Williams showing up the Yankees cap, one of the best closers in baseball, showing up with a badass beard and being like, yeah, I'm not shaving it. So,
the whole thing came because of gas masks in World War I, anyways. Silly shavings nonsense.
Hey, is Young Steinbrenner affiliated with the Yankees now or no?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
All right. Pook, Pops, when are you going to sign up for the fantasy football or fantasy baseball league?
Oh my God, bro.
Come on.
You and your full-time jobs, bro. I ain't got time for that shit.
Yeah, you do.
Well, nobody got time for that shit, man.
I got fucking 2 kids, a dog, a cat. I had 2 cats.
Oh, you definitely don't got time for that shit.
And I fucking somehow managed to play it. So sign up to the damn league, motherfucker. It ain't hard.
Did you send me the invite?
I did, like probably twice.
Oh God!
I'll send it a 3rd time.
You send it to me on Facebook because I don't go on Facebook.
No, I'll send it to you on a text. All right, how about that? Anyway,
I gotta pay for this league.
When is the draft?
I'll set the draft when I got enough people to draft. Right now, I only have 3 people on the fucking team.
Oh, that sucks,
dude.
Yeah.
You're really like whooping up on cream puffs, don't you? I have no idea what I don't know my ass from a hole in the ground when it comes to baseball.
No, Chris Benoit is probably the best fantasy baseball player in here. He's already in. It's me, him, and Tim right now. So yeah. All right. Other than that, I have nothing else for baseball other than to get these 2 jokers onto the fantasy baseball league. Remember, never take a permanent solution with a temporary problem. Plenty of resources out there. Love you all. Thanks for tuning in. Couldn't share the show out today at all because I was banned for some reason. So other than that, have a good night. God bless. Thanks for tuning in. Share us out however you can, from Rumble to Facebook to Twitter or whatnot. Pook, what you got?
Yeah, we're wrapping up the show early, and I appreciate that because I ain't got much rest, and I'm gonna go take a nap before I have to go in and work a shift for sure. Real quick, when I was talking about Henry Cejudo earlier, you know what actually could have been going through his mind, and I actually just thought about this while you guys were doing your segments. He could have been on that stool and been like, he's a fighter, man, and it was a close fight. In his head, he's way ahead on rounds. And he probably has trouble seeing out that eye. He thinks if he stops a fight now, he's got on the scorecard as well. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because that's the fighter mentality, right? It's a close fight. He probably thinks he's winning every damn round, you know? But anyway, I digress from final thoughts. Yeah, when they come for my Bible and my gun, just kidding, Minnie. I'm not going to go there. Don't do nothing that's going to make you hate yourself in the first place. And if you do, no self-harm, please. So I'll hand it over to Pops.
All right, Pops, what you got? Final thoughts? Let's roll.
Logano, Cindric, Bowman, Larson, and Hocevar. That's where they stand at Atlanta, and they're 253 laps to go. So it's a lot of race to go. Again, we expect another big crash out because it is all pack racing. I don't understand why the driver or the owners don't do something about this pack racing, because all they do is trash cars. You're looking at, okay, let's see, I got Talladega twice and Daytona twice and Atlanta twice. So I'm going to write off 6 $400,000 cars just to go to those races. That's freaking nuts. But maybe that's something the owners are going to be able to do something with NASCAR when they get into the legal battle with the 2 teams that are saying, no, these guys are bad. So far, the judge has not ruled on NASCAR's motion to dismiss the suit. We'll have to wait and see how that all comes out. However, the judge is saying this is going to be done this year. So before December 31st, we will have a result of this, and it will be implemented. So just have to wait and see how that comes out. IndyCar next week at St. Pete. It's always a good race. Our buddy Will Power, I think, has won the pole there 4 times. So the guy that is over the hill, which supposedly a lot of people think Will Power is over the hill. but
Mhm.
he won 3 times last year and set the
Yeah.
record for the most pulls ever. So I find it hard to believe that he's over the hill.
Yeah.
Even though, remember, he is the replacement for Elio Castroneves when Elio was going through all those tax problems with the U.S. government.
Yeah.
So he was brought in to take care of Elio's car while Elio was fighting in court and winning. That's the amazing thing. So we're just waiting to see how guys develop. An awful lot of new guys in the IndyCar. I'll be able to give you an update on who's doing what this year, but it'll be interesting to see exactly what they all do. Santino Ferrucci is in there for another season with AJ Foyt Racing. AJ Foyt Racing now has a technical alliance with Penske Racing of all teams. So it's hard to believe what AJ Foyt and company are up to, but the fact that they've got a technical relationship with Penske Racing says that they're actually trying to get better. And so far, it'll be interesting to see what Santino can do. Other than that, we're good.
All righty. Thank you all, Pook, Pops, for being a part of a great show. See you next week.
I'm pretty tired. Think I'll go home now.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.